from this group of people to be a chairperson, whether it's be from the CPF, and I get the sense that we are not ready to make those choices right now. And also we will need to say how many people are in the room representing the same organization. So maybe if we represent the same organization, we only need one person to come as part of the committee, and then we can go back to constituencies and so those are the different polling positions that we will then need to fill in. And what I then suggest we do as a way forward, because we are not in a position to make those choices right now. Let's go back and let's think about who would we want to represent us in those areas, and then we will vote in the next session as a way forward. Are we comfortable? I don't like talking to myself, but I'm sure going to okay. Then, so we've spoken about the structure. The other thing is, okay, the second area is what then are the different areas that we're going to focus on. And I'd like to hear from you at this particular point. What are the issues that the people of Tembisa are battling with, whether it's social ills, because then what that means is that's going to be our focus, our different focus areas, and we will drive the business. So ahead, yes, at the back, we
yeah, the people of Tembisa, one of the critical challenge an issue of the, I can say, the drug abuse is a very serious challenge. Very serious challenge. Drug abuse. The nyaope, what is a problem.
I'm close to serving. Nyaope and drugs are close to me. I like to come serving because I advise everyone around me. I'm trying to collect all those things and help them to rehab. It's difficult for me because I need a team to help me to give me those things, because after I prepared them to go to rehab, I'm working with Mabukan. And we're going to rehab. After they come back, the challenge is how can I help them to get the job? And I try, but some of them are police, some of them are doctors, and I write the letters to check them back to their jobs, and the other thing which is difficult to me is those kids they don't go to school, because it's something behind them. You cannot just take a drug without any reason. It's either friends, it's either family, it's either parents or whatever. So I need a team, I need somebody to help me, because I'm alone there. You understand? As I'm talking now, I left lots of people there, and I feed them. I used to sleep with them in my house. I'm trying all my life. I need help, because these kids is our generation. We need to help them. We're in need of them. It's not the last, or it's not the end of their life. They need hope. We have to promise them their life. They can live again. They need our love. They need us to show them we are mothers or we are parents and everything. I'm very, very much when I hear people calling them nyaope and all this, because they don't know what is behind them.
I just want to give you a picture of what actually happens. What happens in our space is a community member of time at every individual. There's very
as young people, as advanced them. But in their presentation of the cases that they bring to us, there's a high element of poverty, there's unemployment, there's school dropouts, there's teenage pregnancy, there's substance and drug abuse, there's family disintegration, and domestic violence. Now, Tembisa is rated as the highest township with domestic violence. And what does that mean? It's not about cancelling those families only. It's also about those couples or individuals or children, placing them somewhere where they can get a relief at some point in time. But the challenge that we have is, as Tembisa big as we are, we don't have a facility wherein we can place them temporarily whilst we're dealing with the problem at home. So what would normally happen is the couple or the kids with the mother will be taken to hospitals or will be taken to another area. What does that mean? It means they are attending a school at Tembisa or at Spiwe. They must relocate. Relocation means if they are relocating, staying there, they must have some money to get to foster us on a daily basis, which the family wouldn't have. For one reason or the other, the mother didn't relocate. And how does that happen? That is why I'm talking about building this situation. Now, what then we did, we secured, we requested some old buildings from the municipality with the hope of saying we could, do a domestic violence or shelter kind of thing. But unfortunately, the budget is failing, right? We're no more allowed the municipality to build social facilities. That mandate lies with the government, which has whatever some other dynamics with it. That's the same thing with the violence substance abuse. We have some sites earmarked for outpatient drug rehab center, where young people can go on a daily basis voluntarily on themselves. Not the ones where they would stay for a week, for 3 weeks, and because that takes a longer time. Even the placement takes longer. So our appreciation would be, amongst other things, which is key, which is what is bothering everyone, is the issue of the substance and drug abuse in this country. Now, when they come back from the rehabilitation center, as she indicated, is the issue of them easily relapsing. They are relapsing because they have nothing to do beyond rehabilitation. Because they don't have employment, some they don't have skills, and some other programs could be done and structured in a way that we could probably, you leading the process as API, wherein we put these companies around in this area together to say, how best then do we have a pool wherein these young people are trained and get skills, and then companies can take them in for internships, for employment, etc., etc., etc. And part of that, we also have, amongst others, amongst the team, people who are doing cooperatives, establishment of cooperatives, with young people can start, and some of them also, as women who are doing you're suing whatever, they're suing from them, but they can go that if it has more personnel that are needed, they can be in a position to supply Coca-Cola, they can be in a position to supply the hospital, etc., 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 in that they've been trained on this which they can provide to anyone. And I'm happy we have our colleague here and the other one, somewhere here, from how they, which I'm thinking they can assist all of these initiatives. But the point I'm making is all of these need all of us as partners so that we can be in a position to do all of those things. But we don't do development as one person in isolation. We do development as a collective for the development of the community.
Thank you very much. guys, our original chairperson has arrived. Melanie Taylor. Please introduce yourself.
I'm not supposed to even come through, but something is quite in that, like, hey, I know my people from Tembisa. Let me just walk in, so it was a very surprise, but apologies for this. My name is Muzi Kongo. I think some of you were together the last time we will remember. I'm really just a facilitator.
Yes. So we
anything else.
no, but we need you because I said to the group of people, our colleagues here, Uguzi, it's all new to us and we are building this ship as we go along. We've basically gone through some of the takeouts from the previous conversation. We've spoken about the structure and we've agreed that at this point in time we won't be able to put it together. But so we've agreed that the team is going to go back and think about who then are we going to suggest for the chairperson, marketing, projects, etc. Those areas that we had spoken about and some of the other areas. What we were doing now was to speak about the different focus areas. And one that's come very clearly is around drug abuse and then the ripple effects thereof. And Umam knows themselves from the social department, social development. Yes. Was just outlining, you know, that whole conversation around it's individuals that come to them for help. They might go to rehab, support them in terms of getting employment, giving the necessary skills, the necessary education. And also was speaking about that. How do we bring in other organizations to whether it be through the skills training piece and then for employment? Because at the end of it, the fact that these young people are doing drugs then messes up a whole lot of things in the process. I hope I've captured it. I know I was summarizing. And I hope I've captured it properly. And I saw other hands that wanted to speak to what are the different areas that we Dhlamini, and I think Ubaba here.
Yeah, I'm sure we can speak later.
Okay.
In the sequence, please let us have the last.
We'll start with the second.
We need funding, so unfortunately we hit a brick wall in terms of our really have volunteers. But taking the people who are already addicted on substances and then not giving them something where they can survive, it becomes a futile exercise, because in essence we want to take them out of their situation. However, what do we post them? They also are ready to work at the general society. Like, beyond what we have to tackle despite substance abuse, we need to see what we do. So I think creating employment that is centered around waste can be able to sort out this problem, because I'm sure if you live around here, you're well aware of the waste that is already made our corners, and then for the past 3-4 days, waste has not been collected, and there is rain still where they are pushing the waste back into the streets, which ends up into the streets. And in turn, what eradicating waste means, it improves the quality of life for the people around that vicinity where waste is being disposed. So once we get people working for it, they are ready to volunteer, but also having a funding structure as well. I think this might work.
I think the position is placing is to say let us not create a duplicate structure. Let us perhaps work within an existing structure, but obviously implementing what has been summarized here. For example, when she said GBV, within the structure they know all of the people who do GBV. If they are to be put in one room tomorrow, they can facilitate. Then when you have a plan for GBV, you roll it out with the assistance of those people because they know each other. When it's to to do maybe with small business and other areas. I'm part of those people. For example, with my partner here, about a week ago, we brought a race cop to Tembisa. They wanted manufacturers in Tembisa. We also engaged in the stakeholders forum. They assisted in some of the small business people. Then the race cop was able to get manufacturers in Tembisa that they can assist on the business.
Sorry to come into this. I think why this becomes relevant, and I want to bring it back to our original discussion. We obviously had a smaller group, so we'll be honest, it wasn't as broad as today. So maybe that's why some of the issues are coming out. But the whole purpose of all of this is not, as you rightfully put it, it's not a duplication. As a company, the view was to say the company is doing a lot of stuff in the community, let's say Tembisa. But at the same time, while we're doing these sort of things that projects we are doing, there's always a question. Are these projects reaching out broad enough in line with the community needs? See, for now, I'm not even talking structure, community needs, but also appreciating that the company has limited resources. That's why we're trying to prioritize and find which areas we can start and then in time go ahead. Then the third thing was around. Then the company says, but when we have the community, then tomorrow our truck is hijacked. The tires are being stolen, people go to the depots, they go to the factories, it's the same community we're trying to have. It can't work. So therefore then the belief is to say, if we reach out to the community and say, this is who we are, this is the little we have, where do you think we must put it? There. But also at the same time, should. Now, because these people are our kids, our brothers, our uncles who are doing this damage, we should find a way to solve it. That's why CPF being around and all that, and even meeting the police station becomes relevant for that. So it's a win-win situation. Why I'm giving this background is to then say, part of then the structure we want, inclusivity is very important. Because now sometimes we have existing structure, I'm not saying that that's okay, but why we just open the net and say, who are the organizations and stakeholders within the community, let's start this process of the forum, was because it was supposed to be open to everyone who is serious about community development. That's a starting point. But also secondly, issues of depoliticizing. You can hear we don't talk to it's only communities and what can happen. And you could also see then some of the, I would call them legal, societal structures like government, local government and provincial are also here. So this is just for delivering development to a community. So I thought, let me give that background, because then if there's a structure that is in existence, to try and duplicate is obviously just a waste of time. We've got members here, we've got members elsewhere. However, though, if we have to work through any other existing structure, it's got to be open enough that why I was asking, actually the question would be, is everyone part of the structure here? If the answer is yes, there's no need for discussion, we then move to that structure. But if there are people who are here and are falling outside that structure, then how do they get incorporated? Because it needs to be inclusive. That's one. Two, that structure, I don't know what legacy issues it has. What we also won't want is to go into a structure that already has some legacy, has had issues in the community, has isolated that one, has happened, because then it defeats our purpose. So we've got to be honest around that. Also, while we're asking about mandate and governance, clean governance is everything. When there's money involved, governance is everything. Otherwise, people start fighting amongst themselves. Also, we don't want to be inheriting those problems of structures that begin to say, hey, they were given money 20 years ago by Johnson and incorporation. That money was never counted, was eaten. Because then what it does now, it turns our reputation into something, and then we can't move on. So I thought, maybe just highlight this risk around managing structures, but also highlight the benefits of it, because then you don't need to duplicate it, it's there. So I think somehow we need to make a quick decision of what's the foundation, because even this one was going to be called a Tembisa stakeholder of some sort or whatever. So the names are even similar, but we clear on what we want to achieve. So colleagues are not let me give them background and take a step back. Maybe I can come out of it, maybe somebody will say, that's exactly where the problem is. That's why they're still there in the call. I don't know. But you get where I'm coming from. I'm opening so.
No. I'm officially handing over the to my Leonard colleague here, who is well versed in these sort of conversations. Thank you.
We'll share. So any takes around the table, because I think we need to just clear this part and allow. We don't need to select structures today as in agreed, but since it was brought now that there might be duplication. And my colleague from the province is very detailed. Sisi also sees something also on that side. There's a brother also on the other side. Maybe we just go clockwise, maybe. Maybe start there and then I'll just come around to it. Yes, brother, you have something there?
But now, what I was thinking as I was listening to everyone, there is this thing like that I've seen in many of the events that we are doing. If you want to make an impact in the community, you have to not just look at the problems, but the biggest thing you look at is the biggest problem, that is training. Like, if you could build a campaign around the biggest problem, that's training. Because that thing, that's what everybody's looking at, that's what everybody's complaining about. You know what I mean? Like, for example, the younger guys, you know, there was a time whereby, like right now, we've taken them as a norm. You know, a lot of people have accepted it, but so we're concerned. So whenever somebody does a campaign about that, everybody would there and everybody supports it. But now, if you do a campaign around it, there are people that are going to go like, but now changes. So what we need to do is when we do a campaign and look at what's trending. You know what's trending right now in Tembisa is that if you go around, you drive around Tembisa, you will find in the internet because there's this crime that's happening. Guys are just shooting people for cell phones. It's robbery. People are dying. I think yesterday I attended, day before yesterday I attended a funeral of a person that was shot because they were taking his phone. And then this Saturday I'm attending also, you know this thing, right? He knows it, right? And these are our friends, 3 people is our friend. They all died. 3 days following. The other one was like 3 streets away from Basialina, and then the other one was just on the corner. The other one is not even a kilometer away. So even when you listen to VOT, the calls, everything, what's filming is that thing. So if we are to build a campaign and you say that you want to make that impact, you want the people to be around and listen to that thing, it's very vital to go with what trends. Obviously, we'll adopt these other things on that campaign, which, you know, we have an issue of drugs. But this catch line for everybody would be this, that this robbery, these people that are aware to build it around it. And another thing that I wanted to say, you know, it has been just unfortunate, and I think that's something we have to add. Uguti, I have friends that do drugs. I've never done drugs. But most of my neighbors, when I chill with them when I'm driving, this guy is used to waking up in the morning at 5 o'clock. I go lining and he says, and get them. And that's his habit, and then he smokes drugs. We take him to a rehab. He gets used to a new habit. That's why we call rehab, alcohol drugs. But once he gets out of the rehab, he goes back to that environment. He wakes up in the morning. What is he supposed to do? The issue of employment is too huge. You know, it's too huge. You can't make a solution around employment. You are not going to create employment. That's just something that's not going to happen now. It's too huge. Even the government can. We can, but it's a bit too huge for now. But look at it this way. It's about lifestyle. If somebody, for example, they built a wedding park where it was a soccer field. Now, people that do drugs, obvious, focus, when we grew up, we were all playing soccer. Alright? Today, not everybody can play soccer because of our soccer fields are turning to old age homes and wedding parks, so on. And then living, building houses, people with money build flats, which is doing absolutely nothing for the community. So it's about the lifestyle. We need to, when we create that impact, we don't just do a campaign. We leave the campaign with a strategy. We'll take there's sports facilities. You can play tennis, you can play rugby, you can play soccer, and it's not expensive to build all those things. But without those things, like now, tennis court is closed. Obviously, we'll go and do drugs. What can we do? It's 2 o'clock in the morning, it's after school. I can't go play soccer, I can't do it. There's peer pressure. So, which is very much if you smoke weed turns into, hey, no, let me not take all this time here. Just wanted to highlight that.
We sort of tend to look at drugs, but we're not looking at the actual cause. Like you said, they have nothing to do right now. And it needs that dedication in an individual to actually be like, you know what, we're developing the sports sector, you know. Yes, people will go to rehab, there's people that I also grew up with that are smoking cat and drugs right now, whereas we could be coaching them. You know, that's another skills development. You can organize a campaign whereby, you know, we're developing them in what they enjoy or that God-given talent that they have. You know, thank you.
Say, whatever work we need to do to structure it around the theme so that it just activates more than just the members that are here. So a campaigning, it changes behavior, it changes thoughts, but it also begins to tell people that we're the forum, we do certain stuff, and we take it from there. And I think the security also offers well for the company because it's not only the people physically, you know, I mean, we're at Freedom Park the other day, one of the employees, one of the days at around 2 p.m. during the day was robbed. You know, so it means our society is just become that people just take. So we can't ignore that. I think I've just made a note and also thinking the responsibility. But where I want to try to step back, why we want to pick up on the focus areas is this issue of this alignment. I think, you know, just to get around what is the feeling, how do we then move forward? I picked up the point around let's do some research and try to find out, but also we need to move because it can't be a talk show forever. Projects must happen, we must make a difference in the community. We can't have another dead meeting, we're still not sure. We'd rather start talking that with the people that we have next 3 years, we're going to support them, we support them, we all agree to move forward. Talk is cheap, but we must do something.
Can't we just put everything together and it just work together as one? And everything is going to be fine. And what I'm trying to say here, as I was telling my sister before you came in, I'm busy with these drugs kids. I'm collecting them day and night. Even at night, they're free to come to my house. The only thing that I want to ask, if I can get help, why can't you just give me a bigger space? So because I'm looking for a job for them, I'm sending them to pick and pay. I got people, I got agents. Because when they're coming back from rehab, I have to make sure they don't have to go back to the street. I have to create a job for them. So if I can get a bigger job like a community center or something, when they come back and then we've got skills, we've got everything, I can put them there because now I'm just doing that alone. But I'm trying to make a living for them as well. You understand? I've got lots of people, they support me, parents and some other people outside. They give me, especially around myself, I cannot just feed people from outside before I start from my area. So all my neighbors and everyone around me, I try to feed them and I try to feed those kids. I don't know how many families I'm feeding, you know, from out of my pocket and some of my support from churches and all those things. So everything is flowing, but the main thing, I don't have a space. I don't have any space to keep these people, you understand? Because even if because it's not only those kids. I've got teachers, I've got police, I've got lawyers, I've got doctors eating drugs. You understand? They came to me. So, but I'm writing a letter for them to put them back to their jobs. You understand? To give them a second chance to just to go back and work and to a living for their kids or whatever. So what I'm asking for, can you just help me to get a bigger space to accommodate these people? Thank you so much.
So what I want, let's deal with this. Just get ideas, we might not solve it. What do we do? Do we move as a forum like this, and then get maybe the other forum to come and talk to us? Because we're already moving as well. How do we make? What do we do? I just want to get ideas. Then we have a resolution. We move on. Because what might help, which I don't know whether we went through this, is that at some stage, and it's really my interest, is to get where you are already talking about projects. But we don't have to finish that conversation here. What we did with the other people, because I want people of action. So you already say you've got something. At some stage, once we've agreed as a forum, Georgette is here. Today we're going to go a step further to suggest that, because if everyone starts saying exactly what they want and they're crying and everything, it might take us a whole day. Bit of interest we've done, very fair enough, but most importantly, we will allow a process of submissions. Circulate an email directly to Georgette with your project, with your organization, with your background, what you want, because what that will even allow us to do. We run through everybody. You might find you're doing drug rehab or post-drug rehab, whatever. There's somebody in the corner who's doing something similar, and. With other forums, what we're beginning to do is we then see everyone. We then tell that under this drug and substance abuse stroke, what. These are the organizations. This is how we're going to assist and share and do whatever we need to do because of resources. Others are doing skills development. We're going to have a list. I would break it down. Everyone under skills development doing this and that. Others are business people. Business forums that are here will do a similar thing, but slightly different for them, because it's not just asking for charity and implementing. You must tell us what areas of business they're in, what actual businesses, companies are there, are they registered, are they compliant, can they do the job, blah, 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 blah. We'll also do the same thing, because there's a value chain here, Coca-Cola, where we can find opportunities for businesses on little things. With other groups we're talking about things like general maintenance, plumbing and whatnot. It's something we can, but even above that, they've got problems. Like in retail, the business involves. Some people now used to be great in spaza shops, but foreigners and Pakistanis have really attacked them because they club together, and some of them are actually better business people. So how do we take our people and give them the infrastructure and the startup package? That's where business in the box, some of them will do. So that's a conversation, to be honest with me, that excites me, because we are doing something. The talking and all that won't, but we have to do it to move forward. So can I take the round around this structure, so that as this group now, yes, we hear about them, and some of you affiliate, but we are this group. How do we move forward on this issue? Then we close it. Yes.
Look, colleagues, of the view that the existence of the Tembisa stakeholders forum does not limit or stop us having a smaller structure which will be focused specifically on executing the outcomes of the CCBSA social mapping exercise. Because that small CCBSA structure which we have deferred to appointing in the next meeting has a specific, and I should think time bound as well, mandate to execute. Why the Tembisa Stakeholders Forum has a broader societal mandate for all the matters that impact or affect Tembisa. And the fact that there are those who are here and there is also not a crisis. Those who affiliate at the broader structure, if there's a need to, they can give feedback of what we're doing here, because what we're doing here will not be in conflict with the aims and objectives of that broader structure. And I am aware of a situation where there might be people here with genuine good programs which will impact on the community, but for any other reason, they are not part of that broader one. And we don't want to exclude them, because their projects will make a meaningful impact on the community. And I think let's keep it let's keep it small, keep it focused, the specific mandate, and as it grows, there can always be engagement. How best to complement, does the broader one complement the smaller one, or the smaller one complement the broader one, as and when programs have common objectives. Because at the end of the day, we all want to see Tembisa becoming a better place,
Yes.
in a better community. Those are my views, that just keep it this one very small. And if there are members who belong here and there, they will give a feedback as and when.
Okay.
We're not duplicating anything, but attending to two different mandates, but ours is small, specific, and time-bound. I do want to come and address matters raised by my colleague from the EMN Social Development and what other members of the group here have done so. But I think it is best that we hear more of them before we come. But I think it is becoming more pronounced for me, Pirtunia, that the issue of substance and drug abuse is more pronounced. And obviously, drug and substance abuse has a twin in GBV. You can't address another in the isolation of another. But I think it is best that those who know the community better speak more, and also listen to other NPOs as well, NGOs speaking about other things, including sport. Then we'll come back later on. Because I wanted to make a proposal, Chair, that development can be narrow. Development must be broad, must be integrated. If we address drug abuse, because young people are addicted to now, but they don't have sporting facilities for them, you have a future exercise. So you keep them drug people, the vicious cycle. And if they are unemployed, it's something else. I just want to conclude.
Yeah, can I ask? Close there, because we get into a very nice piece, which you said would follow through on.
It's fun.
Yeah. So let's just close this thing off the forum. There's a proposal on the table.
Yes, we can't be everything to everyone, but the communities are tired of just doing waste. New problems have happened. How do we incorporate those to reviewing that? And you hear in the discussion that things are beginning to shift and accommodate. Obviously, still Coca-Cola stands for something, so you can't force them to be everything. But let's listen and meet each other halfway. I think that's a whole idea. So I think any more different ideas from the list that we have? Oh, no, sorry. That's fine. The blind spot.
Sure. Thank you. I'm Andrew from the National Association of Car Wash Operators. We're an NPO. And we hope to formalize the car wash sector within the township. As you're aware, there's a lot of car washes that's popping out in townships, and there seems to be no support or structures in place to eradicate the challenges that the communities are facing in aid of job creation and crime. So the Car Wash Association was formed primarily to formalize the sector so that government structures and businesses can participate in helping those car wash operators become formal. One of which is, getting them CIPC registration, business bank accounts, and basically just to get them as business entrepreneurs and develop them in what they are currently doing. Because car washes are there, but the problem is that they don't have the backing of municipality. Yes, there's LED that helps them, but what happens is that when the support comes, it comes and then it goes. There's no sustainability in terms of making sure that they reach their end target at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We are busy with the local stakeholders, the EMPB, City Waste Management Department, and other stakeholders in aid of formalizing the sector so that they can be
regarded as official traders within the municipality, to give them permits to operate as car wash operators, rezoning and all of that. Because those are challenges faced within municipalities, bylaws that we are addressing with municipality in aid of helping the car wash operators. And taking them further, not just from car wash, but maybe even Chisnyama, windscreen repairs, car wash will enable to create more jobs within its own, like car wash operator.
Business training and support to actually make businesses more complete, more compliant, because then they can then be competitive compared to others. So that's where other foreigners and visitors, when they come in, everything is there. You go to the restaurant, the toilet, I'm not saying all of them, but the toilets are clean, this sort of thing. You go to this Sisanyama, you park your car, you have something but you don't have a toilet. So your job is to be able to say those things are there, they're clean, service, and. So we will take the proposal, they said at the end we're going to have an email and a communication where everyone can do the submission. I'll sit down and break it down to all these sectors that we are trying to figure out. The next meeting, we'll be now talking to say, there's this group, this is what happens, now we support. And also, this is not a one-year thing, colleagues, which I must also say. I don't know if it was mentioned it. The company has also realized to just dump, just because you are spending 1 minute to dealing with Togo. When Togo is beginning to be warm, you run away. You're doing that. Some NPOs will be very clear that I've got a project, but it can only work if it's supported over 3 years. So we need to also look at that whatever we agree has time. Yes, we need to go to other people as well, but let's have time into it, not just short quickies and then but we'll know the proposal and then we will do that.
Thank you for the economic development. Chair, I want to raise, I think, given other regions that we've been in yesterday, there is a common challenge that keeps on raising in all these regions. I heard earlier he was raising the issue of crime. It then shows that the CPF, and I'm happy that our colleague Subs is here, it becomes that partner that we must work with towards this community development. Because e-crime can become a stumbling block for all that we're playing. So let's emphasize the issue of CPF. For all this investment that we're putting in all these NPO NGOs, we need a CPF as our partner moving forward. How do we also support them, resourceful, so that they're able to protect all of these community development initiatives for a successful township development. Thank you very much.
Our leaders in the uniform are here, so I was a bit relaxed. In the last meeting, we actually had the chairperson of the Tembisa CPF, sitting on the very same chair. So the alignment is there. Probably today we had some other engagement and. Because I also wanted, thanks my colleague, to actually add it here to say, and I mean, from how I was putting it, was also having a very good relationship with SEX. I mean, they are part in the way of the security space. So, and in his view, and what I like, I'm going to speak for him now, is that broad thinking that is beyond just, you're doing security and only when things come to you and then you run around. How proactively he gave, to your point, colleague, he gave an undertaking to say, once we've agreed even on programs here, because they're going to be setting up, let's say, your centers and all those things. While they're doing this great job, we are still a victim of crime. So some of the businesses that we're going to sponsor here, some of the businesses we sponsored before, even have a relationship with them now. I think they've got one patrol car that goes around. One of the instances we talked about, the guy was going somewhere and he just locked up and realized he's being followed. So he didn't stop, obviously started just driving around, moving, and the car was still continuing until he called them and he says, I'm in this region, they were not far from there. They then came through and started escorting. The car saw them, it moved, and then it left it. Prevention. That could have been a possible bad situation. That was there. Obviously, they only got one car, they got limited resources. But his point was exactly that as we develop this, whether it's campaigns, initiatives, they want to be an extension of it from a support perspective. Because their feeling that, that's why it's called community policy, is not purely as when SEPs comes through. SEPs, they come through, it's something else. But with them, they want to also ground themselves on addressing root causes. How can they partner? When you have the people in the rehab centers, when they're coming from there, what is their role? Not only when those people start doing crime and then they want to just, kind of enforce them the law. So I think we are aligning there. If there is no other branch of them, I think I've spoken on their behalf, that's why I'm taking a bit of time. We will engage, they will stay part of this, and says, this is our office. This is, we don't have much resources. Okay, now and then we might be Coca-Cola on the other side. It becomes difficult, but I think this partnership for us also works very well. Colleagues, we need to extend to that. And crime, we always say crime, but I can share something now. Some of us even sitting here know a cousin or brother that came back with something yesterday that you can see this guy is biased. But we are also quiet. So this kind of thing is very broad. But the more we talk about it and we all try to work through it, I think we should be okay. Colleagues, as moving on, I think we do have, I can summarize at the end, captured about 6 broad areas from a social development or community development perspective to guide the work of this forum. Because what I want to do is to take this now, have a chat with the colleagues at Coca-Cola and say, from our alignment, how do we align with this and that? But I can tell you most of the things discussed here are not new, are a typical community, particularly in our townships that we face every day. So it's not something non-workable. Nobody has brought something here and say that we want to turn water into wine project. I think everything is within the mandate. So I will capture that and then maybe then move forward. So then I don't know if you want to do it. I think it would be also important to just have now a response in this discussion around where we are in terms of our focus areas, the work that we are trying to do to align, which is coming from the social mapping, as well as also from discussions with procurement and those areas from a business perspective and allowing them. So maybe if you can give a broad, similar to what Pirtunia did yesterday, because everyone is asking about, so what are you guys giving? It's not going to be a clean giving, but at least where are we focusing and where we go.
Okay, our focus right now is education, and when I say education, it's bursary funding. So we have started the study budget fund applications for Tembisa area, and it's closed already. But if you have students that have passed matric in 2021 with an 80% average pass and a resident of Tembisa, you can ask them to send the application by COE today. Okay, and
so
the application...
did we get that? Because it's a very, there are kids that you see that they've been so brilliant at sitting at home and they go to newspapers. So they've decided it's closed, but we know people, we know friends, we know anything. Let's just reach out and tap it to Georgette. I think that...
Yeah, I'll send you my email now. So they must have an average pass of 80% in 2021, and they must send us a CV, one-page CV, to say which school they attended, what subjects they have passed. Obviously, they must send us their metric certificate, and they must let us know what they want to study and which university, things like that, so that we can assess. And this funding is it's complete to manage them. Say, for example, they want to study BCom in accounting, and we'll give them full bursary funding for that. Then the other thing is on Business in a Box. So Business in a Box is an entrepreneurship program that we have, and I know we have one person here, which is Elias. Yeah. So the Business in a Box is the entrepreneurship where we assist you. For example, he had a tuck shop and he converted it into a business where he sells other products like groceries. Obviously, you have to sell our products as well. And then chisa nyama, other snacks, quick snacks, daily. That's how we have this program. So if you are interested with Business in a Box, also you need to send your proposal. But you have to be a South African resident and you must be operating at least for a year so that we can see your progress of your business and loss and all the other statuses.
Yeah. And I think on that, the brilliant about it as well, it's previously it has always just been a container. But you see with a container, all sort of things start coming up. Rezoning, compliance to bylaws, and once we're stuck there, you know, to be moved and all, it's disturbance. So there's also an option which goes with mobile, they call them mobile kitchens. But for all intents and purposes, it's really a mobile kind of business. So you can still have, if you are selling, you know, some food and whatever it is, and obviously this great beverage, you know, you can move it from spot to spot. You know, sometimes when we were growing up, you know, by month end, pensions, you know, it's been paid to take it there. A new construction site has started and people need that. So I think that also becomes quite flexible. So it's not just getting only a container. If you can motivate for something different, that's more mobile, then, you know, why not? Yeah, I think those are some of the programs. But also, as I said earlier, these are not necessarily, you know, there's also a lot around just support for entrepreneurs, you know, where we can take them to training, you know, help them with compliance on certain things, them understanding how to do financials, raise money, and you don't want also our SMEs to always say, you know, there's something when I used to do work for agriculture, how much I hated this concept of emerging farmers. 10 years down the line, you are an emerging farmer. Since when do you emerge and become, you know, what is this language? And it has been acceptable in South Africa that most and every black person is SMME. Everyone stands up and puts up a name, yeah, but we are unfair to SMMEs. 10 years down the line, we're doing that. And I think for me, it's not progressive. So it's companies like this that must begin to say, how are we going to build you? How are we going to give you a timeline for you to actually at some stage be grown? So we do a lot of training and support. Then what I spoke about earlier, it's always tricky because, as you can imagine, Coca-Cola is quite an advanced company. If you look at their factory, the skill set that are required there, but I don't think they cannot be learned. I'm talking from a business perspective, not just employment. So yes, we want to say come into the supply chain, in other words, work with what's in the business, you know, plumbing, general maintenance. But if there's dreams, because that's where young people get disappointed. Young people of today don't dream anymore. They just want to do the things that these old people go fight with Mang for his pasta shop. Why are you not starting a company that repairs or fixes conveyor belts? Coca-Cola only have conveyor belts in their factory. So part of then the discussion is also to start taking it to that level. Specialized businesses, how do we build them and come in? And you know, it's up to the young people to take up those opportunities. So the company is looking at doing that. Part of what procurement is just that obviously we offer to come here in because we're still building. An outstanding item is that they've asked that when we're ready, we'll also set up a meeting where they will come to a room like this and then explain exactly how they are procured, because they also realize that people come through, they just drop something on the internet and say Coca-Cola needs this. But you know, someone sitting in a township, not that they don't have potential, but they don't know. Then they are cut out. Then it's only, you know, advanced white businesses that tells even their own young people that just sharpen here and go there. So we've asked them to come here to explain exactly that to be a supplier at Coca-Cola, we need this, we need that, we need that, we need that. If you don't have it, we don't throw you out. This is a support program, a support program, a support program to get you there. Entry-level jobs, it's this and that and that and that and that. But eventually this is our whole value chain. You could be anything that you want, but you must meet the requirements. So we want to bring in the procurement people to also come talk. I mean, I think you are convinced. Yeah. It's not an application. We will rely to the people who are in here. So let's say say it was a forum, if I'm using this. It might have 10 businesses answer. So you send us one spreadsheet that says John and Joe construction. I'm just using construction as easy. There's a grading that's there, they comply with this, they registered for tax, and this is the area of interest. Because as an entrepreneur, you should be more advanced than not an entrepreneur. To even think what Coca-Cola is providing. When you see the gap, don't be shy to propose that. So if you don't pay for whatever companies then you send us this. So it's exactly the same thing. With your opportunity, what kind of support you are looking at, and actually for that. So something similar. So that's for the business colleagues. And we'll try to limit it to the people in the room, because then what's going to happen is that you take this email, you give it to friends, people don't even understand the resolutions that we have and how we try to function, and now dumping us with emails. Then we are failing, because anybody serious should be here. I always believe that if you are serious, you are not here, maybe our plans have not agreed for now. Let's agree, colleagues, but this is a team. So that when we come back, we can also hold each other accountable. It's easy to talk. I talk for a living. So when you mention, I can champion the whole thing. But let's move beyond that. Let's get to the next meeting where I will put up the list put up here. They will also have done a bit of work, and you start shortlisting and doing that. And again, colleagues, this is not, it's not entitlement. Because sometimes we chase companies away who are trying like this. How they used to work before. People apply, they choose those people. It could be people who are, okay. Any project, I think the community is a project. But there are certain projects that have more mileage than others. And ideally you want to do projects that have more mileage. Do you see what I'm saying? But somebody comes with a fancy proposal to Coca-Cola, they like it, they sign it, it goes, then you start seeing boards of sponsored by Coca-Cola. We try to move slightly away from them and be more transparent and more open. But it's not untouchable. Let's not say if today we say we are doing Joyce, then there's Monica. I start saying I'm going to do it because the resources are limited. Your time might come in the following year or later in the year or whatever. Or if the base grows, we try all those things. So it's honestly, that's why I say there's no politics here. There's no anybody bigger than anybody. There's nobody who's right or wrong than anybody. It's collective. Let's just make this work and plant something in the community, no matter how big. That's a starting point for me. It's as simple as that. So it's the aggression that I'm gonna get from you guys in your proposal, in your submissions. And timelines are very tight for us to show that we need movement. The company has said, as I said, first quarter, which by and large is January to March, is for planning. Because the financial year started in January. It ends in December. So we've got the next 2, 3, the second, third, and fourth quarter for implementation, then it's done for the year, and time flies. So therefore then, by the end of March, we should be in a position where we've identified areas and spaces for the job implementation. So while I'm giving this timeline, so it means our next meeting should be in at least 2 weeks' time. About 2 Fridays away. Obviously, it depends on the invites and who's available and how to invite. In 2 weeks, so what that means, by next Friday, can we have this submission? It's as simple as that. Otherwise, we're going to continue arguing about the light and load shedding. No. Let's get the work. The big job that was here of projects of reading the supply, and then